And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Liberty Media. We're talking one of the biggest companies financially in sports overall, at least according to Forbes. But we'll get into why that necessarily isn't the best thing at the moment, the biggest story. There's another one, but yes, we like our butts. And talking about butts, Norris signs with McLaren. But some people are saying, is he scared of Verstappen? We'll get into that. But congratulations on Norris and McLaren. Last but not least, Hamilton re-signs with an old friend. He has changed management companies. But let's get into Liberty on top. But this is from gpfans.com. And most people are saying, what a good thing. F1 is on top. And as we know, Liberty Media here, it says, have been titled as the most valuable sports empire of 2024. However, here's the but. Their valuation has fallen since 2023, which I think is the real story. So according to Forbes, the mass media group who own Formula One have a valuation of around 14 billion. I mean, that's absolutely astronomical. I can't even imagine that's a lot of zeros. 14 billion, putting them ahead of, I'm going to get this wrong, but Chronic Sports and Fenway Sports Group. They're the owners of both Arsenal and Liverpool Football Club in the Premiership, or in the UK and England. So, but despite this, the group have actually seen a 2 billion. Once again, that is a lot of zeros. A 2 billion hit in their worth compared to the same list from this time last year, which also, to be fair, had Liberty Media, F1, at the top of the pile. Now, with this hit, it's not set to impact F1 too much in the short term, as the story suggests, but potentially it could suggest that there's trouble on the horizon. As we know, we've got Stefano Domenicali, head of, obviously, Liberty Media. And it says, with the upcoming 2024 schedule set to be the longest yet, a record-breaking 24 races across 21 different countries, there's no doubt that the future of Formula One is pretty secure. Recent contracts signed by both Las Vegas and Madrid suggest that the sport is attracting a lot of worldwide attention. However, and here's, I think, where the but is going to begin. And as the story says, the aggregate value of Liberty's ownership stakes in its sports assets fell by 12%. Now, okay, when you're talking billions and billions, well, that's not a massive amount for a company maybe as big as Liberty, but I'm sure if all our pay packets drop by 12%, for example, for the next year for our jobs, that's going to make a massive difference, isn't it? So their assets dropped by 12% to 18.2 billion, but it still maintains the top spot on the list, Forbes revealed. Liberty declined in value this year because it spun off the Atlanta Braves' current enterprise value 2.6 billion last July. What the story doesn't say, though, is the audience figures for Formula One has been suggesting that they're kind of down as they were maybe on 22 and maybe even 21 when you look at it. There was that report that we spoke about that was suggested that Formula One on social media was not as positive this year as it was even in the last few years, and even mentions of Formula One, F1, etc. had gone down. So you have to wonder, has F1 peaked from a worldwide point of view? Because, as we know, these tracks are throwing money at people. Madrid throws a lot of money, Barcelona throwing a lot of money. There are concerns that we're going to miss those classic tracks. Absolutely. I'm concerned as well. We want Silverstone, Spa, Suzuka, Monza, Imola. We've only just had that back. We want them all to stay. But it looks like some may go because of races like Madrid and Las Vegas, which is going to be a massive shame. And the but here is, if this F1 trend does start to go down, people aren't going to be interested, are they? And the big thing is that Liberty cannot take their eye off the ball. It's the fans, just like football, just like any sport ever, cricket, etc. It's the fans that make the sport, and that's going to be the concern coming into this season and doing contracts ahead, because a lot of street races are fairly meh, a bit boring. I mean, you could say you've seen one street circuit, you've seen them all. Yes, that's not quite the case, but from certain angles on TV, it's really difficult to find out what actual circuit it is. But if you take, for example, a corner at Suzuka, a corner at Silverstone, you've got to know what they are absolutely immediately. Maybe Monaco, any of the other tracks. If you take any random corner and not like a specific notable corner, it's going to be very difficult. Very difficult, if not impossible, to kind of tell what track you are going to. So we're fighting maybe for the soul of the sport, and I just hope that's one thing Liberty Media are looking at. But there we go. I digress. I've rambled more than enough on that story. Let's get into Norris signing with McLaren. Absolutely fantastic. It's a multi-year deal. McLaren have not stated how long. I'm not too sure why. I'm sure there is a reason. The last time they stated how long, why, when they re-signed him again. But here on SkySports.com it says why joining Verstappen at Red Bull was not a smart move. So as we know, it says here, Norris explains his reasons for his extended McLaren stay. He said, I don't think I'd ever be scared of going up against anyone, but even if you enter a team, are you in a position to challenge someone straight away? And are you comfortable to do that? I think it's a no for any driver. And he went on to say, the article says that Norris is continuing my own story with improving McLaren rather than exploring any potential switch at Red Bull. I guess if he goes to Red Bull, that'd be very much I'm starting from scratch again. New engineer, new pit crew, new team. The car will feel different, even though it was the best car last year. It probably is going to be the best car at the beginning of 2024. It is going to feel a bit different though. And it's going, as we know from Sergio Perez, and since Daniel Ricciardo, Red Bull really struggled to get a decent number 2. Anyway, Norris, a long route to Red Bull target, says, I don't think I'd ever be scared of going up against anyone. And he believes it's not a smart move, essentially, to change to a team, for example, Red Bull, very much Verstappen's team. Now, McLaren last Friday announced that Norris had extended his contract, which still had, interestingly, 2 seasons still to run at the team, which was already on a multi-year contract into 2026 and beyond. And this is a move that's going to keep the 24-year-old off the F1 drivers market. And a lot of people suggested he may well go to Red Bull. If he was going to leave McLaren, that was going to be the most likely place he was going to go. But now, it's weird, isn't it? Obviously, with the Leclerc signing for Ferrari, Norris signing again for McLaren, it's put a massive pause on that driver market. 2 of the big teams you can suspect are now sorted. In terms of one of their drivers, at the very least, the big ones you've got left is the other Red Bull seat, which I don't think is going to go to Sergio Perez, and you've got the other Ferrari seat. Now it's mooted that Sainz has been offered a contract, potentially a 1-year contract, but he's not happy. He wants a multi-year contract, and Ferrari are thinking maybe they could do better. The issue that Ferrari, I think, have at the moment, though, is Sainz has been, other than 2022, throughout their time together, he's been on par with Leclerc. He scored more points than Leclerc, I think, in their first year. Very nearly did this 2023 as well. So that's going to be quite interesting to see where Ferrari go. Are they going to go to Alex Albon, which is someone that's been mooted? I think if Sainz goes, for me, that's going to be potentially the most likely person. So, Lewis Hamilton, this is from racefans.net, signs with an old friend. There we go, the smiling Lewis. Yes, Hamilton, he's reunited with a driving expert who left him before the 2021 season. Yes, Hamilton's preparations for the F1 season, they've been boosted by this return of his management team. Mark Hines, who spent 5 years running Hamilton's Project 44 company before moving on in February 2021. He's returned to assist the 7-time world champion. And he says Lewis is looking forward to the beginning of the new Formula 1 season, and he'll be working with Mark Hines, his long friend and former colleague, and will be providing his expertise to assist Lewis on track. And that was a statement issued by a Hamilton spokesperson, and it went on to say that Mark will be solely focused on racing activities and supporting Lewis's commitment to bringing the fight back to the top spot. And as we know, Hamilton narrowly missed out on that controversial championship in 2021. Let's not go on about it, but his relationship with Hines, this dates back to their time in the junior racing categories. Hines, he won Britain's Formula Renault. He was the Formula Renault champion in 1997. That was 6 years before Hamilton did the same. Both drove for Manor, who obviously later entered F1, initially with Virgin and with that later with the Mauritia branding. And in 1999, Hines won the British F3 title. The same year, a third place finished Jenson Button was hired by Williams for 2000. So Heinz better than Jensen Button at the time, but sadly not signed. But while Heinz was unable to gain a regular seat in obviously Formula One, he's applied his talents elsewhere, and he's gone to look at, for example, stuff like driver coaching. He's worked with several Manor F1 drivers, including Max Chilton and Robert Merry. Heinz has also raced in sports cars and the F1 supporting Porsche Super Cup. But it says here from racefans.net, his return to Hamilton's side comes as the world champion makes other changes to his management team. Penny Tho, who took over from Heinz, is no longer working with Hamilton. So that's going to be interesting coming into the season. The management agreement, it says here, between Penny Tho and her company Cooper with Lewis Hamilton came to its natural end in December 2023 after the expiry of a fixed term. I won't go into all of that, but it's going to be interesting now as to how Hamilton takes on this 2024 season. However, the big exclamation mark is going to be, how good is that Mercedes car? We're only a couple of weeks now, maybe 2 or 3, a couple of weeks, just over a couple of weeks away from those launches where we're going to get the first look, but really nothing really till the first test. And let's be honest, no one is going to show all going to show all their eggs, for example, until that first qualifying session in Bahrain, as we know. But if you made it to the end, like and subscribe. If you've done both of them, you are definitely an F1 champion in our eyes. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.